I think, and good kind of teaser for what we're going to do today. I am looking for the feed as we speak here, so bear with me here just a second, and I'll see if I can see you guys. I want to see you guys, and maybe you guys can see me, perhaps. I think, maybe. Can I see you? Let's see. And then we'll get this show on the road. Let's see. Here we go. I think we're up. Yes. All right. I can see you over here on Facebook, and let me refresh our YouTube feed and see if I can see you here. And we'll get going. I haven't gotten the notification yet that I am live, but I'm sure it's coming up any second. There we go. I can see me. There we go. All the notifications are coming in, and I can hear me. There we go. I'm going to turn that down. All right, I see everybody here. Perfect. Let me just make sure. All righty. All right, I can see everyone there. All righty. Good. I can see you on YouTube. I can see you on Facebook. And I think we will be ready to go with this. I'm trying to get my phone. I don't know if you guys have trouble if you're watching on your phone. If you can find me, sometimes it's hard to get it into portrait mode. So sometimes I have to go out and come back in to get into portrait mode. But I think I've got it. But I can't seem to see your comments. Oh, Facebook. Let's see. There we go. I can see him now. Perfect. Alrighty. Well, it is time for components today with me. Now that I see you guys jumping all on. Great. It's good. Good. I can see you. So I can see you over here on Facebook with Geeta is moderating over as Bead Shop Live. She's right over there. And I'm not sure if Janice is jumping on the feed today or not on YouTube. So I'm going to keep my eye on the YouTube feed as well. So I see from Nancy. Nancy, not a problem. You're welcome for that little helpful hint over there. I hope that your project works out, and I can't wait to see what you're going to make. Hello to my dear mama who's watching over on YouTube. And it looks like we've got some new watchers, which is great. So welcome if it's your first time watching. We really appreciate your support and your comments and your likes and your shares. I did want to mention on the broadcast, whether or not you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook, it really helps our positioning for these videos if you hit the like button. The like buttons on both of these, for some reason, really help to boost the algorithms on this. So go ahead and just whenever you feel like it, you don't have to over hit the button, but just hit it with a like or a share, and that helps to raise the visibility of these videos, which is really super helpful for us. So the more organic reach we can get, the more we will show up in people's feeds. So we really appreciate that help, those shares, that word of mouth. But if you are watching and you do share the video, we really appreciate it. Hit those likes. Again, it really helps those ratings for us. So thank you for that. And it's great. It's great to have everybody here from all over the world. I see the UK, I see Puerto Rico, I see Ohio. Awesome. It's great to have you guys all here. So let us get this show on the road. You guys can see in our group, in our bead group called the Bead Table over on Facebook. And if you're not a member, jump over, answer the questions. We'll be glad to have you join us. A lot of you are posting your Alfred mugs that you've been ordering from our Society 6 store, which is great. I love some of you have been posting pictures of your mugs with your pets, which is awesome. Faye posted a great picture of her smiling with her mug, so it's great. So thank you so much for supporting our little store over there at Society 6. And I'll bet that Gita and her fast fingers are already linking, and I bet I can find it right over here. Our Society 6 store is kind of fun. It has some Alfred merchandise. It's the watercolor that Janice did from a picture that I took of Alfred sitting on our work table here at the office, which was great. So you get a little bit of Alfred anywhere you go, which is kind of fun. So there's the shop, and let me get that post. It's right there, and I am pasting it right into the YouTube feed as we speak. So there it is. So it's kind of fun. Anyway, so if you want an Alfred mug or other things, oh good, Lanta, you got it. Good, and it's beautiful, great. You know, before we made it live over there, I ordered the mug because I wanted to make sure it was pretty cool. And it is. It's nice and heavy, and we've got tote bags, we've got other things over there as well. So it was fun. So it's what I have my gin in this morning. No, I'm just kidding. It's just water. But about 5 o'clock, it'll be gin. I also want to share with you, we're getting ready for our really fantastic bead retreat that's coming up. It's coming up next week on Friday, a week from today. A week from today, we'll be there already, or we'll be on our way there, trying to get there in time for lunch, which is great because lunch is always awesome at our retreats. And Janice did a really great watercolor, and I wanted to share it with you, give you a little sneak peek. You guys have seen the tote bag over at the on the bead table in our group. So it's really fun. So this year's retreat, it's called The Journey. And as I say, it starts over the weekend. It starts on the 13th of September this year, 2019. We're already making plans for our 2020 retreat. This year is our 3rd annual. Next year will be our 4th annual. So sign up for our newsletter. If you haven't done that already, jump over, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get all of the info about it. So these are the tote bags that I made, actually. I just pressed the thing on them, but they're pretty cool. So it has Janice's really beautiful watercolor and our new logo on the top, which is great. So after the retreat has ended, I will be doing we've got some great goodie bags this time. So I'll be doing a couple of goodie bag giveaways for you in the weeks coming. So keep that in your sights. That's coming up. And then I also I was playing around, you guys know this famous Alfie watercolor that's right here. This is one that I did with my press. I have a steam press, of course I do, thanks to my mom finding them on Facebook Marketplace, which is awesome. But I just made another, little transfer with it, and we did one with Alfie as well. So they're going to be a couple of fun door prizes at the retreat, and I'll have a couple of these for giveaways as well. Okay, so stay tuned. But if you do want Alfie tote bags, or someone was mentioning like notebooks and stuff, our Society 6 store, there's all kinds of merchandise that's on there. You can get notepads, and there's a clock. I have not activated the Alfie wallpaper yet because that would just be ridiculous, but it's kind of funny. So anyway, you can jump over there and take a look at it. It's a good idea. Someone asked about putting the bag on Society 6, the retreat bag, which would be really pretty. Maybe I'll have Janice kind of redo it, maybe without the dates or whatever, and maybe we'll put a quote or something on there and put those up as well. That would be kind of fun. I have other plans for some of Janice's watercolors on there as well, but they also have pillows, all kinds of stuff. And we do have, yeah, the Kate apron. Who's the boss of that bead? That's right. Well, we'll see. They don't have aprons yet. They need to get aprons there. Maybe I'll write them and say, hey, Society 6, get those aprons going. But anyway, so, but thank you so much for your support over there. And next year, the retreat will be, that's always I think the second weekend in September, I think is our date, the second weekend in September. So block that off. We'll be having signups again. Enrollments will go live at the beginning of 2020. So keep an eye out for that. It's a really good time, super relaxing. We are cooking up some ideas to bring some of our retreat experiences to you guys that have not, that weren't able to join us this year. So stay tuned for that as well. That's going to be kind of fun. All right, so I guess now we've got a lot of people have jumped on, and I know you guys are ready for me to demo. So let me get to it. As you know, on Fridays there are Friday vibes here that are much more casual than our real Wednesday broadcast. So I am my own camera woman. So I'm going to get up, move the camera around, and then we'll come back. Okay. And let me know, I've kind of played around with the quality of our streaming. You know, we've had some streaming or some buffering issues over on Facebook. So let me know. I saw that, Lynn, you were saying that the Facebook feed was already starting to buffer. The stream here is really strong. We're getting a good strong stream here. So I'm not really sure if it's your Facebook settings, but you may want to jump out of Facebook, jump back in if you're having buffering issues. Also, make sure you guys, if you are watching our feed, make sure that you are connected to your Wi-Fi rather than your data. Okay? Connecting to Wi-Fi may make it a little bit of a stronger connection for you guys. So try that as well. Okay. Alrighty. So let's take a look at some components that we're going to talk about. This weekend, the first weekend of September, here, the first full weekend, we're having our big components sale. And if you're watching this later and you've missed the sale, I'm sorry about that, but I'll do another plug for our newsletter. Make sure and sign up for our newsletter, you guys, and you will be able to see all of our sales and stuff as well. So we have a really great sale, as I said, going on right now on components. And components on the bead shop site mean like almost everything. They mean clasps and I don't know, findings and you know, connectors, all kinds of stuff falls under the components category for us. So if you go online and you go to our website, beadshop.com, you can find everything that's on sale just automatically under the sale tab. And if you go to sale, don't go to closeouts and overstocks, but hit the sale tab. Closeouts and overstocks are a separate category. But the sale tab will have everything, and there are 1,157 products on sale. So if you look at the category on the side, you can sort by the different categories, so you don't have to look at all 1,157 things that are on sale. But you can go ahead and sort it that way, and you can sort it by color, you can sort it by finish. So that's a quick and easy way to deal with what's on sale. But like findings, buttons are on sale, chain is on sale, and we'll be restocking a few things a little later today. But we've got a lot of great stuff in stock for you guys to check out right as we speak. So right before I went on, I filled my little bin. We use these to fill your orders, these little bins. My mom will recognize these. She bought these for us. And I just went in and I grabbed a bunch of random stuff that I liked. Though I also saw here that Beth, you asked about the string-on beads. So I'm gonna text Cara real quick. Cara, and I'm gonna say bring in string on clasps and 1 millimeter leather. Let's see if she gets it, and then I'll show you how to do it, Beth. Okay, someone will see that text. I'm hopeful. Cara always does. They are always so on it. They watch me. I should always realize that someone's always watching me do stuff. They're always watching over in the office. So remember that component that I did, you guys, on last Free Tip Friday. Remember that feather that I made? Okay. The feather was a really fun piece. I'm going to grab Allie's necklace that she did here. Whoops, and there she is.
I just dropped it.
Uh-oh. Thank you, Cara.
You victim.
Look at that. There she is, putting those in. And I think that's the right size cord for it, isn't it? 1 millimeter? We'll find out.
You'll find out.
I'm going to. You guys remember that component that I did from Alfie? From Alfie. Sorry, Allie. From Allie. I have Alfie on the brain, I think. I'm afraid he's going to come in and wreak havoc on my bead desk, I think. But no, Alfred did not make that component. Allie Morey made that component. Oh my goodness gracious. So, so I made that feather last week, and I thought it was a really kind of a fun project for you to tackle. And so today I'm gonna play around a little bit with that feather, and I'm gonna turn up the brightness here just a hair, I think. There we go. So it's a little brighter for you guys to see. There we are. Let me get back over here and make sure that looks okay. There we go. And I see, Linda, you're saying you finished your Chasing Rainbows bracelet. That's awesome. I'm so glad it turned out well. Mine is sitting on my desk. I have to finish it. Maybe I'll finish it in time to wear it to the retreat, because I love that piece so much. So you guys remember as I was saying, the feather that I did last Free Tip Friday, and it's up. You can find it on our YouTube channel about how I did it. It was really fun to do. And so I thought today I would take that feather just a little bit further using some of our components. In this case, this clasp here. A lot of you are making kind of charms or things that go on handbags, or that maybe you want to convert to you know, to add to a necklace and take off a necklace, whatever. So I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna attach this charm to this component piece here. And then I've got some other things that I want to share with you. This is our flattened ring. It's called, I think it's called a biting, maybe. Let me look and see if it is, if that's what it's called. If I know how to spell it. There we go. Yes, it's called the biting, and this is it in antique copper right here. Okay, so and I've got some ear wires here. Yeah, how's the camera? You know what I did, and Curtis, thanks for noticing. I lowered the resolution on our camera so as not to have so much buffering. Can you really tell? Is it really that much worse? You also may want to, if you're on Facebook, you may be able to screw around a little bit with your resolution. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm sorry that it's not quite as clear but it could also be your feed. I'm not sure. I can't change it in the middle of the broadcast, so bear with me here, and I'll try and get really close up and personal so you guys can see stuff. So thank you. The world of live streaming is still developing. It feels like it's developing daily for me. So, okay, so I have this also with this abiding one here. I've got this large hoop, and I've got one of these tassels like this. So, and I've got one of those, and I've got this Saturn here. So as I said, I just went through the fulfillment room, and I just randomly grabbed things that worked for me. Okay. So first let's tackle this feather, and then I'm going to get to this guy over here. Okay, so there's a component that I make that I want to show you guys. I actually make it with wire, and I'm going to make it with, I guess, with 22 gauge today, though I could make this, you know, let me actually grab, I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it with 16 gauge so you guys can really see it. Okay. Let me grab this. There we go. I hope everybody's dry now from the big weather events we've been having here in the southern part of the country. I hope everyone's high and dry and safe. I know a lot of you have checked in, which is great. It's good to know that you guys are all doing all right. The tools that I've got for you guys are the usual suspects here. I'm going to get this camera a little further down so I'm not out of screen. The usual wire suspects for me, and I've been kind of on this wire kick lately. Bent chain nose, regular chain nose, round chain nose, and of course our clipper, our flush cutter, beloved Zurons, which are great. Okay, so the connector that I make, what it looks like, I'm going to draw it for you first. I'm going to use my little drawing, my sheet that I was drawing on the other day. The component is a really handy one. There we go. It kind of looks like this. So the wire, it comes around, makes a loop, comes up and around, and then I wire wrap that into place. And this is a good little connector that you can use to connect just about anything. In our case, I'm going to use it to connect this hook with the feather. Okay. You could also use it, we could also put a bead on it, and I'll show you how to do a bead as well, but I'm going to do just a simple wire one to start out with. And I do this, I make this piece a lot. I use it in my work a lot. Oh, it's good. I'm glad to hear that everybody is doing well. No hurricane damage. Thank goodness. So this, you're asking me, Kate, how long is this piece of wire? I'm going to tell you, I have no idea. I also had my tape measure here a second ago. Did it fall? Do you see it? Here it is. Do you see it on the screen? This is about 4.5 inches worth of wire. It might be a little long, but again, wire is cheap, and when I'm improvising, I like just to have plenty of wire so I don't run out. Now I'm going to bend. This is about 1/3 to about 2/3 of wire, and I'm going to bend using my chain nose plier here. Okay, so I've got a right angle bend. Get that stuff out of the way. We're already making a mess. Things are already messy here. Okay, so there's my right angle bend. Now I pick up my round nose plier, and I come in up and over the top. So I've got my loop like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and bend. See how this loop is coming towards the side there? I need to center that underneath. So I'm just going to kind of grab my loop, bend that wire so it's out a little. and now close it up. So I've got a nice rounded loop there at the bottom. Okay, this is heavy gauge, so a lot of times if it's a thinner gauge, I just kind of do that with my hands and I don't really worry about it so much. But with a 16 gauge, it's not as malleable. It's a little bit harder for me to deal with. So you can either make your loops go in the same direction or have one going one way, one going the opposite way. I'm going to have one go one direction and one go the other. And I'm going to make this kind of long so you can see it. I'm going to bend this long piece of wire at a right angle. You see that? And here's my short piece of wire here. Now, the thing you don't want to forget, that I forget all the time, you guys, is you need to put on your clip, your lobster claw clasp. Okay? So the lobster claw is now on, firmly, securely on, and now I can wire wrap. Okay? So up and over, down and under, there we go. Can you see that? How I've made that loop, how it's ready to go. This one that was straightened out, still straightened. I haven't cut anything away yet. And now, what do I need to do before I wrap it? That is correct. I need to add the charm. Okay? So now, can you see here, you can if I move my hand, how I'm going to hold everything together. I'm holding in a firm but light touch in my chain nose pliers. I'm gripping that loop. The charm is kind of hanging away, gravity is taken away, and everything here is nice and sturdy. Beth is asking me, is there a right and wrong way to position the lobster claw? Very good question, Beth. This lobster claw is a swivel, so it swivels around. Can you see that there? It turns all the way around. This one, though, is not turning. There we go. It was caught a little bit, but it swiveled all the way around. There we go. And so there is no right or left on this swivel. Okay. It just depends. I guess if you're right-handed, maybe you want the lobster claw to be in your right, to be over to your right hand. But with these swivels, I don't worry about it too much. On a necklace, I do. I want my lobster claw, for me, my hand, I'm right-handed, so I want the lobster claw to my right hand. Okay. So I'm going to come in and wrap. See how I'm holding with my chain nose pliers there? Okay. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to continue to wrap one below the other. And I'm wrapping all of those wires. Can you see it? Both of those wires are coming up and I'm capturing them underneath my wire wrap. Okay. And hopefully I won't run out of wire. I made this little link so long that I think I'm going to have just the exact, I want one more rotation, but oh well, that's what we get. And you, sorry, I'm not in the frame, so sorry about that. There we go, I'm back in frame. See how I use those bent chain nose to get my little component all the way together. There we go. And now I'm going to cut this extra wire away. I'm going to pull that forward and I'm going to cut this off. Now, as you can see, I didn't judge my wire length correctly. I've got some space up here. So I can do a couple of things with that. I can, what I would do in real life if this were a real thing and I I wanted it to be absolutely perfect, I would cut it away and just do it over. But let's always say that it's a serendipitous thing, so I can show you how to fix it, or how I would fix it. I have these little copper 8/0 seed beads that I had left over from my project on Wednesday. And I've cut, I don't know, about 1 foot of 26 gauge wire. Now around that little space that I have, okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to hold this wire, and I'm just going to give myself some wrapping here just to secure the wire. And now I'm just going to, in kind of my free-form fashion, put some of these 8/0 around the top. And let's see how it looks. It may not, I don't know, we'll see, jury's out. It might need a couple more. 1 and 2. Yeah, and I could, Tammy's saying I could make a spiral with the extra wire, that's for sure. This is 26 gauge, so I'm doing a kind of a free form with it, but you could use a 24 gauge too if you wanted. But these kind of have my, when I do those beads, my free-form wire beads, they kind of have this same kind of feeling to them. So now how would I close these up, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Here's my 24 gauge or 26 gauge, and I just poke it underneath where it's going to sit, like so. And I'll do it again one more time. Just underneath that wire there, you can see that. You know, don't sweat it. There we go. It's a little loose. Usually my wire wrapping skills are a little more up to par. This is not as good today, but I'm going to clip that away. That's okay. I'm going to come in and tighten it anyway. I'll wrap this around one more time and across that wire that's kind of sticking up there and bring it around, and then I'll tighten it over here. You're the boss of, you know what, of the wire, so don't sweat it. Just let it happen. Come on, go in there. There we go. There we are. So that's wrapped around, and now I'll clip away the extra. Try not to clip away your main wire there. Now I'm going to come in, and kind of with my bent chain, I can push that little wire in that was sticking up a little bit. And just like I did on the leaf part here, I made those little quarter turns. I'm going to do that same thing here. I'm going to quarter turn this bad boy right here. And I'm going to push that little guy in. 26 gauge is so fine and so malleable and so good to and easy to work with that you can really tell it who's the boss there. There we go. Really get those suckers right in there. There you are. Look at that. That actually, serendipitously, let me get a little closer so you guys can see. You need to excuse my kind of dirty hand there, but it looks good. What do you think? Okay, I think this is good. And so something like that then could just hang. It could hang from a chain. You could hang it from a ring on a handbag. We still have some work down here. You could really easily, I'll knock this guy out, and then I'll show you, we'll move on to our next component. Here, you can, Tammy mentioned spiraling. So I'm just gonna work that loop. See, I'm using my chain nose pliers for that. work that center, though I'm kind of mangling it, so I want to cut that part away. I want to take a deep breath because today maybe is not my wire day. So take a cleansing breath. Lighten up my grip. There we go. Work with both hands. There we go. Talk yourself through it. And now I'm going to spiral that up a little bit more. Sometimes when I try and rush, you know how it is. You're holding onto these pliers like they're a lifeline, right? So ease up on that death grip on these pliers, and you won't mark your wire. Sometimes you just have to check yourself and make an adjustment. There we go. So I've bent that over. I'm going to clip, and let's loop this up and over the back. Just like so. Okay, can you see it? Ta-da! Now we're going to open that guy up. We'll add that to the bottom. There we are. Let's turn that around. And this little swivel clasp is nice because everything swivels around. Not bad. Okay, so that's the completion of that component from last week. All right, looks good. So now, let me get these other components. And Chris is saying, get your mala mantra going. Exactly. I need to just breathe through it. So here is that large hoop. This is our large hoop component, and this one is our component that we call a biting. This one's a little heavy, so if I wanted to make it into an earring, this one's a little lighter. But if you wanted to make it into a centerpiece, you could use this one as well. I'm just going to go kind of off the cuff right here. And I'm going to switch out my wire from 22 gauge. I'm going to switch it out to 24 gauge here. And, oh, thanks for the love on that, you guys. It's kind of cute. I like it. I mean, it's no magnum opus, but it's kind of a fun way to use those feathers. And it was bugging me that I didn't finish it. So I'm glad that it's in kind of a finished state right here. So I'm going to use my nylon jaw pliers that we use for our wire straighteners. This is 24 gauge, and I'm going to cut, I'll tell you, about 10 inches worth of wire here. Okay. Now, if I'm going to create this into kind of an earring here, I'm going to start by affixing this tassel to my hoop. And I'm going to wrap this around a couple of times. We get a little tighter so you guys can see. Wrap this around a couple of times. And then I want to see how it is if I just slide this guy on there. And you can continue to wrap. And you can see it kind of sits. It sits okay, but this, no. This is what I do when I'm designing at my desk. I'm like, yeah, no, that's, you know what, that's not working. That's not working. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to cut another 24 gauge piece. Because my train of thought, what I'm thinking, I'll share it with you so you know what I'm thinking, is this is sitting funny. There's no movement here, right? And especially in an earring, or if you're doing a pendant and you need movement, it needs to have a loop. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with making a loop. So here's the loop around my round nose plier. And before I do anything else, I'm going to attach this tiny tassel. There we go. That's better. Don't you think already it's better? Alrighty, just like that. Can you see that? We get in tight so you can see what it looks like. Alright. Yeah, this hammered ring, Melanie, this one's called a biting. I love it. It's thick. Can you see how heavy it is? So as an earring, I think it would be too heavy, but it's great for a pendant component. So now this is the center of the wire here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of pull these guys up a little bit. Trish is asking, what are we making? Well, Trish, your guess is as good as mine, but I'm looking at doing a component, a wrapped component or some kind of earring component with this hoop. So let me take off this wire from here. There we go. And see, that's sitting nicer already with that loop there. That tassel has movement. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to wire wrap kind of like I did that component earlier. This component right here. Again, I use all this, like I said, I use this component or this wire wrapping trick a lot. So why not use it again today? See, I went up and over. Let's make sure I'm making these a little too long, I think. So let me take it back. Let me make my bend a little closer to that bottom loop. There we go, that's better. I like that. There we go. Now we'll go up and over the top, like so. Making sure that loop is big enough to go around the hoop I'm going to put it around. Let's try it again. Has to be big enough so there's movement on there. Get in there. There we go. Alrighty. Now, just like I wire wrapped this one here, I'm going to wire wrap this one here. Okay? And I'm just going to wrap. I'm going to kind of hold all of this in my pliers. See if I can get the ring out of the way though. There we go. And in that space, can you see how I'm holding it? In that space underneath the loop to on top of the loop, we're going to wrap. Okay. Then I'm going to straighten out those coils, and let's cut away all of this extra wire. And again, that's why I do a lot of these prototypes in copper wire, because it's not very expensive. Obviously, I didn't need the giant length that I cut, but it did give me a lot of options, because you saw I ran out of wire on that feather. Right, so I did not want to run out of wire. Okay, so here's this, and this is kind of going around. It can go around down there to the bottom if you wanted, but I really want to attach it. I need to get that little piece of wire in. I really want to attach it to the top. So let's see how we can do that. I want it to sit like this. Okay, that's what I want. So, how am I going to do that? I don't know. How should we do that? Let me get one of these tails pieces here. Let me straighten this out with the wire. Can you tell I'm really making this up today? This is really a fly-by-night Free Tip Friday. But this is how I design when I'm sitting at, you know, the design table trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to make for you guys. This is it. This is just how I do it. I just get out the wire, get out the stuff, and start playing around with it, right? So I want this to stay, and I want to be able to attach an ear wire. Okay. So this technique that I'm going to do is twofold. To hold the ear wire on and to keep this from moving around, and threefold, it has to be decorative. It has to look nice, right? Wrap light blue crystals along the side of the tassel. Yeah, that would look good, right? Wrapping, or I could either wrap like the top of the tassel, or I could also wrap like the ring itself. I did a wrap when I wrapped these components. I did that a few Free Tip Fridays ago, I think, right? And Gita's saying it reminds her of the boho earrings I did on your birthday. It does have that boho earring kind of feel to it. Gosh, back in 2017, Gita, I had kind of forgotten about those. Totally fun. Okay, so let me figure this out. The time has come. I cannot stall anymore. I'm going to do that same thing that I did for this component. I'm going to start in the middle of this wire, and I'm going to make a loop. And again, I'm starting in the middle because I have no earthly idea what I'm doing, so I'm just going to give myself enough wire on both sides. Findings are also on sale. If you are down with the lever back ear wire as much as I am, we also have these guys. You guys have seen these. I made these a while back. You've seen them with our fossil beads here. These little guys are on sale as well. It's the niobium wire with the copper ball, which is great. The fossil, we're running out of these in this kind of coppery color, so if you like them, grab them because they're not going to be around forever. And this is a little piece that I set the stone. I did some flush setting practice on this. You guys over on YouTube are making me blush. Just stop. You guys are very sweet. Thank you. You're very kind. So I guess I'm going to wire wrap this closed. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to bring this around, straighten it out, and wire wrap. And I don't want very many because if I'm going to put a bead on here, I don't want this to hang too low. So I've just done 2 little wraps. I grabbed this Saturn bead that was kind of in the colorway, so I just kind of went for it and grabbed it. Now I'm going to make another loop here. I'm making these little bends way too tall. That needs to be a lot shorter. There we go. I'm going to make another loop, bring it around and around. There you go. And I'm going to bring this through. Now it may look like my friend Mary says the dog's breakfast here, but just bear with me here for just a second while we get it all straightened out. So this is connected here, and I'm going to bring this guy around. See that? So these 2 loops are sitting next to each other. I don't need that one there yet, actually. Let me just secure this with the wire. I'll do it and then I'll show you so you'll know what I did. There we go. So this is what I've got so far. Kind of hard to see, but it's the ear wire up here, the Saturn, I've wrapped it to the hoop, and this kind of rando thing that I wire wrapped is on there too. Okay, so now and I've got all this extra wire, thank goodness. I planned ahead because all of this extra wire is going to help me secure that tassel part where I want it to be. So let me straighten everything out. Bring my tassel part where I want it. And I'm just going to use this wire at the bottom to kind of wrap around, and then I'll show you after. Let me get my fingers out of the way here. I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to wrap it around. And I have the feeling that those 8-aught beads that I like so much are going to really come in handy to mask a few wire sins here. But I'm wrapping it back and forth, and then I'm bringing it up and underneath the Saturn. Again, 24 gauge is malleable enough for this. 22 gauge might look a little messy. The wire won't flow quite as well. You could try 26 gauge also. Might work, but I wanted a wire that was heavy enough to really stay where I put it. I'll put this down so you can see what I've done. Take a good look at what you've done here. There we go. And then I still have this top wire to play around with. Okay. And notice how when I was doing this, I was trying to be really deliberate where I put the wire, even though, can I get it any tighter? Even though, let's see if I can raise it. There we go. I was very deliberate where I crossed those wires. Here and here, going back and forth, back and forth. So it does have an organic look to it, but it's not like super messy. Okay. So now I have this wire up at the top, and I'm just going to come in. I'm going to add some more wire. I'm just going to keep wrapping this. If you've seen me, my mom's like, oh my gosh, you've done this. If you've done this once, you've done this 1,000 times. But I'm using the top of that wire to also come back down and wire wrap over some of that messiness. So it masks it a little bit, and it's hidden under the piece, which is why, and I need to turn this around. I don't know why I feel like this is the front, so I've got to make sure that my ear wire is facing front. There we go. So it's really hidden, kind of a little bit of that messy wire wrap with a little bit of that messy wire wrap down at the bottom. And I'm mixing kind of the shiny with the antiqued here. And I could use antiqued wire if I wanted, or I could antique this myself using liver of sulfur. I have an episode on a Bead Shop Live using liver of sulfur and antiquing the wire. I need to do that again. We need to make something with antiqued wire. But the directions that I put up there for the liver of sulfur, or LOS as I like to call it, are really helpful. So if you haven't done antiquing, don't be afraid. If you haven't used the liver of sulfur for patina, I show you how to do it. Though it needs to be on a bare metal, not a metal that's been sealed. Okay? Because if the metal's been sealed, it's been sealed against tarnish, and it won't take the patina. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to just do those little tricks, those little tightening tricks. I'll do one over here. Beth is saying now the trick is going to be making the second one look just the same way. It's true, Beth, and if I were doing this on, and you know what? I don't love how these wires look like this. So I'm just going to, it's no big deal. I'm just going to clip them away and wind them in. I'm actually going to do that with both of these wires. I don't like the look over the bead. I want that check bead to shine on its own. So I'll just bring this around, wrap it one more time, and tuck, clip. But when I'm trying to make pairs, let's say I try and do each step on one earring, then I'll follow it with that same step on the second earring, so that both earrings are evolving at the same time. I find that gives me a little bit of a better chance on getting these earrings. As you know what I like to say, the earrings are sisters and not twins. So just get them as close as you can. You're not a machine, but get them to be close. They're on opposite sides of your head. Okay, there we go. That's the front. Is that the front? No, I can't tell. I guess I didn't need to worry so much about a front and a back then. No, that's definitely the back. Let me flip this around. You can open the loops on these ear wires, but I don't want to if I don't have to. I'd rather turn the wire loop. So there it is. And this hoop is nice and easy. Nice and, not easy, what am I trying to say? Nice and secure. It still has some movement like this, but it's going to stay where I put it. So there you go. Let me turn it around. So it's kind of a fun earring. Okay. And this is the bare wire, parawire. That's correct. That's what I used here. Only the bare. And the bare is the one that I patina with the LOS. Any of the others that are coated, they won't patina. You have to remove the patina somehow. We do carry, you know, like our other wires that have already been antiqued. That's a coating that's put on by the company, so they won't react to the liver of sulfur. Okay, so it's good. I think this is good here, right? It's not a bad earring. I mean, it's not amazing, but hopefully it will spark some creativity for you guys. You can continue to wire wrap some beads around this hoop if you want. Using the silver here, I could have brought that silver up into the wire wrapping up here too. That would also kind of tie the two metals together, which is nice. The tassels only come in a gold and in a silver. They don't come in a copper. Though if you did have a little copper, sometimes they make that metal paint or whatever, you could very carefully paint over the top of that. I'm sure it would stick just fine on that. Okay. The last thing I want to show you guys, so this is what we've done so far. Okay. And here is the feather that I made, and here's the earring that I made. Let's see. Oh, our friend Michelle Leonardo. Hello, dear Michelle. If you guys, maybe you guys remember on our Free Tip Friday broadcast, not this year from Beat and Button because we weren't there, but last year, 2018, we interviewed Michelle and dear Tammy Hahnemann. Michelle talked about her jewelry line, which was incredible. I know she's still going strong there, so you can check it out on our Free Tip Friday on our feed. I think it's a playlist when Janice and I were at Beat and Button in 2018, and Michelle talks about branding. So she really imparted some great wisdom there. So it's great to see you on the feed, Michelle. And she asks, would you be able to demonstrate how to seal sterling silver one day on Free Tip Friday so that the silver won't tarnish? I will. I talked a little bit about it. Might have been a couple of weeks ago, last week ago. Right now, currently, for my jewelry line for the holidays, I'm using a lot of copper that I'm making pieces out of. And when I use copper, bare copper, when I use it in my pieces that I sell, I usually like to seal it. So it does prevent them. I put let me try that again. I put deliberate patina on that copper, right? And that copper, and then I don't want that copper to age, you know, as much as I can keep it from aging. So I use a couple of things. I use a spray acrylic, and the spray acrylic is just like a matte fixative that you can get at the craft store. But I've also been exploring the world of Protecto-Clear, okay? And Protecto-Clear is commercially available product that a lot of jewelry designers use to seal their metals. Protecto-Clear, if you look it up online, you'll find it. I get it in a small jar. The jar's about this big, right? Has a lid on it that you unscrew, a small lid. It's in a can, actually, not a jar. You unscrew it, and what I do is I just pierce it a little bit and open it a little bit underneath the lid so it doesn't all come, squirting out or flowing out. And then I use either a small brush, or sometimes I put some of the Protecto-Clear in like a little like plastic cup or something that I'll throw away like this. And then I will get like a hook out of wire, and I'll put, let's pretend that this is my Protecto-Clear in here. This is the piece that I'm going to coat. I put it on my wire, and I will dip it, dip like this, pull it out like this, give it a little bit of a shake like this, and then I'll have something like this Alfie mug, though it wouldn't be my Alfie mug, that I just hang the piece off of. Okay, can you see that there? It would be hanging off the side, or something like a little bar or a little something. And I put it outside. You want to work outside. The Protecto-Clear is very stinky, it really radiates a lot of fumes. So you want to work with in a well-ventilated area. And you don't want to dip for long. You really, with Protecto-Clear, what you do is, here's my plastic, not my little bead dish, but I put it here, I dip in and dip out, give it a shake, and then let it dry. If you want a second coating of that Protecto-Clear, you can do it again, but let it be completely dry. I've been experimenting with a lot of patinas and stuff as well, and the Protecto-Clear really protects those patinas, some verdigris patinas, some kind of interesting blue-green patinas with ammonia, stuff like that, and it does seal it very, very well. You can also brush it on, which I have also done. What I do is I put everything on a plastic baggie and I work outside. I use a brush that I can throw away, or a little sponge sometimes, and I dip it in the Protecto-Clear here and I sponge it on and then move to the next one. Light coats though. If you put too heavy of a coat on any sealant that you do, it'll bubble, okay, and it won't look very nice. Protecto-Clear, what I have found, it does not leave any sheen or matte to it. You can kind of tell that there's a coating on it, but I did some bracelets that I'm doing out of this really cool wire, and I'm dipping them in the Protecto-Clear, and they look really good. I'm also doing that spray matte that I get. It's just a spray acrylic. It's actually a semi-gloss that I'm doing, and it's actually working out pretty well. But those are the experiments that I've used. Sometimes I don't seal, and I just let it go out into the world unsealed. But for these that I'm being really deliberate on, I am sealing. One of the things I'll say though, if you are, and you can use Protecto-Clear on any metals, okay, it doesn't matter, any non-ferrous metals, and I think it's come down to us, like many metal protectorants, it's come down to us through the kind of the restoration world of restoring and protecting metals, and it's kind of come into the jewelry world from that. This is also something that I use. I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent, and Beth, I promise we'll wrap up with your, if they're still here on the table, we'll wrap up with these slider tubes, I promise. But when I'm selling my jewelry, And you guys are familiar with this. If you're not, get familiar. This is a pro polish pad that we sell here at Bead Shop. And what I do is I cut these into quarters, little quarters like this. And when I package my jewelry, I put in a non-tarnished, 3M makes them, they're a non-tarnished tab. That's a small little tab like this. And then I'll cut this into fourths, and it's the same size as the non-tarnished tabs. I'll do this here, I'll cut it up like so. And I will put this in, let's say now that this is my finished earring that I've made and it's on a little card and it's all ready to go. I'll put this polishing pad and my non-tarnished pad all in a little baggie, and then it goes into the gift bag, and then I have a little blurb of info, you know, hi, I'm Kate Richburg, thanks for buying this, blah, blah, blah. So it all goes in together. So if this little corner of polishing pad will be enough for people to, you know, like if this is a sterling piece or whatever, even if it's plated, you can come in, you know, you can give it a little bit of a polish, and then it's ready to go like that. And we actually use these here before we send out a piece. If it had gotten tarnished or whatever, we give it a little swipe with this pro polish pad. So it's a really good kind of added value to have into your pieces if you're selling them. Okay, so that's what I do. And the non-tarnished tabs, you can look them up online. I'm sure a lot of places carry them. We don't happen to carry them here at Bead Shop. At least currently we don't. But it's that same size. It's a little, I don't know, however big this is, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, or 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch probably is what it is. Okay, so those are all kind of great things if you are selling your work. All right, so the last trick I'm going to do is, this is that slider clasp, and we have them in slider tubes and we have them in the beads. I know that Cara brought me more than one. There's the other one. There we go. And on the inside there is like a little silicone thing there, and then there's a hole that's drilled in it. Okay, and on the description, I know that we talk about it a little bit more. I was trying to remember what fit what, so I had Cara bring me a 1 millimeter leather. So we'll see if the 1 millimeter works. I'm going to cut a taper, little point into my 1 millimeter. And then what you do is, let's say that you've strung a bracelet or whatever is going on here with this. You bring it either, you can do it a couple of ways. You can bring it back through the same direction, like this, and it holds things into place. Or you can have it go through the opposite direction, like this. So that little silicone bead that on the inside of this bead holds it in place. Then you would just tie like a little knot or something here at the end to keep them from coming off. So it's like a little slider clasp is what it is, if that makes sense. And this is the 1 millimeter. Looks like there's plenty of room. I think you could also get the 1.5 millimeter through this, no problem. Okay, so that's it. That's how that slider tube works. I hope that was helpful for everybody. It was a fun free tip today. Thank you so much for joining me and my messy table here. But we've got the necklace, we've got the extension of yesterday's, or last week's rather, feather. We use this abiding. I'm going to take off my little thing right there, and we use that slider. So if I'll give one more plug as I move the camera around so I can say goodbye to you, to all of you all. If you haven't gone on and jumped on and signed up for our newsletter at beadshop.com, I recommend that you do, and that's the best way to communicate with us about our sales and giveaways and events. And if those of you who want to join us next year at our retreat. We'll be talking about letting you know about the retreat more through that. There we go. I'm a little crooked. Let me straighten that out. There we go. So, so do go right to our website, beadshop.com, and you'll be able to find that. Okay, let's see how really crooked I am here. Not too, a little crooked. Let me fix that. There we go. I think that's better. Maybe. Tilt it up just a little bit. There we are. All right, that's not too bad. Okay. I know, Gita, I'm trying to see Alfred, but I don't know where he is. Maybe if I call him Alfred, Mr. Pickles, will you come in? You never know. You never know. He might jump up. So next week, you guys, on Wednesday, we have the most special of special guests. Janice will be here because she's here for the retreat, and she'll be here, and she has an amazing project. We are doing a brand new Odyssey project with some new cords and some new beads and stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. She's made a beautiful piece, and you know that when Janice and I, when we get together, it's always good times. So yeah, I should text Alfred. Alfred, come in. Alfred, he doesn't have a cell phone on him, I don't think. So Janice will be with me, be here with me on Wednesday. And then Friday, you guys, there won't be a Free Tip Friday, because Free Tip Friday time, I will be driving down to the retreat. But we will try to go live from the retreat and do some postings and stuff like that, so you guys can get a feel for what we're doing down there. Sometimes the connectivity is not great because we're kind of out in the country and the reception isn't always the best, but we're going to do our best to try and get some things online, so those of you who are not able to join us will be able to join us via some live streaming. And so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It was great to have you guys here for Free Tip Friday. I'm sorry, no Alfred. I'll flash the tote bag again. There we go. There he is on the tote bag. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay dry, stay creative. I will see you next week with Janice. And check those newsletters, everybody. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.